High Admiral Kethvar read the transmission for the 7th time, his forearms trembling as he held the data crystal. Around him, the bridge of the Hegemony flagship Devourer's crown buzzed with nervous energy. Officers from a dozen species whispered among themselves, their various forms of communication creating a cacophony of clicks, growls, and subsonic vibrations. "Read it again," demanded General Morthak, his reptilian head scales flaring with agitation. "This has to be some form of primitive humor." Admiral Kethvar cleared his throat chambers and activated the holographic display. The message appeared in perfect standard galactic, though its origin point was unmistakably from the third planet of the Sol system, that insignificant blue world the inhabitants called Earth. FINALNOT, ICETOTHEEGALA, CT, ICHEGEMONY. TO High Command. FROM Earth Defense Coordination. RE Cessation of Hostilities. This marks our fourth and final communication regarding your ongoing military operations against human settlements. For the past 847 standard days, you have conducted 2,847 separate attacks on our colonies, mining stations, and transport vessels. We have consistently responded with minimal force, limiting our retaliation to defensive actions only. This has been a deliberate choice, not a limitation of capability. Your forces have interpreted our restraint as weakness. This interpretation is incorrect. FINALTERMS. Cease all hostile actions against human interests within 72 standard hours. Withdraw all hegemony forces beyond the 50-parsec exclusion zone around Sol system. Failure to comply will result in the termination of our courtesy period. You have been warned. Earth Defense Coordination. General Morthak's laughter echoed through the bridge, a harsh sound that resembled grinding metal. Courtesy period? These primitives developed faster than light travel, barely 50 cycles ago. They have, what, a few dozen colonies? And they dare threaten the hegemony. Commander Vel Thissis, her serpentine form coiled around her command station, hissed her agreement. Our intelligence reports confirm they possess no weapons beyond conventional projectiles and basic energy systems. Their largest vessel is a fraction the size of our destroyers. Admiral Kethvar set down the crystal, but something nagged at his combat-trained instincts. Their response patterns have been unusual. Every engagement we've initiated, they've responded with exactly the minimum force necessary to drive us off. Nothing more. Because they're weak, General Morthak spat. They lack the strength for a proper counterattack. Or, Kethvar said slowly, they've been choosing not to use it. The bridge fell silent. In the 300 cycles since the hegemony had begun its expansion, they had encountered over 40 species. Some had fought desperately with everything they possessed before being crushed. Others had surrendered immediately upon seeing the hegemony's might. None had ever shown the peculiar pattern of precise minimal responses that characterized human resistance. "Impossible," whispered Dr. Yeath-Mondo, the hegemony's chief xenobiologist. "Our computational models clearly indicate that humans are a standard Class C species. Limited technological development, primitive social structures, minimal military capacity." Commander Vale Thissis pulled up tactical displays showing their latest victory at Kepler Station. "Look at the data. 23 human defenders against our assault force of 800. They held us off for 6 hours, then withdrew. They could have fought to the death like any proper warrior species, but instead they retreated after inflicting exactly enough casualties to make the engagement costly. Strategic retreat, General Morthak dismissed. Standard behavior for an outmatched force. Admiral Kethvar studied the engagement data more carefully. Something was wrong with the numbers. The human defenders hadn't just retreated, they'd withdrawn at the precise moment when hegemony casualties reached an optimal cost-benefit threshold. It was as if they'd been calculating the exact amount of damage needed to make the hegemony question whether the station was worth taking. "Sir," his communications officer interrupted, "we're receiving another transmission from Earth. Already. The deadline isn't for another 71 hours. The new message was shorter. AMENDTTOPREUUSNOT. Your forces have continued attacks on Titan Station despite our warning. Deadline moved to immediate effect. Courtesy period terminated. EDC. General Morthok stood up, his massive frame casting shadows across the bridge. Finally, they're showing their true desperation. Ready all battle groups. We'll crush their homeworld and end this farce." Admiral Kethvar was about to give the order when his sensor officer spoke up, voice trembling. "Sir, you need to see this." The main display shifted to show the outer system sensor readings. For a moment, Kethvar couldn't process what he was seeing. The space around Earth, which had showed only light defensive platforms and a handful of patrol vessels for the past 2 years, was now filled with contact signatures. Thousands of them. "Sensor malfunction," he said, automatically. "Negative, sir. I've run 3 diagnostic cycles. All readings confirmed." Dr. Yithmondo rushed to his own instruments, his breathing apparatus clicking rapidly. "This is impossible. Our deep space surveys showed no industrial capacity for fleet construction of this magnitude. Where were they hiding?" His words died as the tactical display updated with ship classifications. The vessels appearing around Earth weren't crude constructions. They were sleek, advanced designs that made hegemony technology look primitive by comparison. And they were moving with a coordination that suggested battlefield experience far beyond what any Class C species should possess. Commander Velvis's voice was barely a whisper. "Admiral, those aren't defensive positions. They're offensive formations." The communication array chimed with an incoming message. Not from Earth this time, from every human colony simultaneously. Settlements that the hegemony had marked as destroyed or abandoned were broadcasting identical signals. COURTEYPERIODEEED RECLAMATIONPROTOEUEOEAIA HEGEMONYFORCEESHAVE10MINUTEST OSURREEUDEE. Admiral Kethvar's hands shook as he realized the truth. For nearly 3 years, humanity hadn't been desperately defending their colonies. They'd been studying hegemony tactics, technology, and weaknesses. Every defeat had been a learning opportunity. Every retreat had been data collection. The humans hadn't been fighting a war. They'd been conducting an experiment. And now, the experiment was over. "All units," Kethvar whispered into his communicator, "withdraw immediately. Maximum warp. Do not engage human forces." As the hegemony fleet fled the Sol system, Admiral Kethvar understood that they had made a fatal error in judgment. They had mistaken human restraint for weakness, strategic patience for inability. Earth had been polite. That politeness had just ended.